Today, we're diving into a pretty radical idea. What if we could actually code our deepest values, things like cooperation, stewardship, taking care of the planet? What if we could code those directly into our economy? We're going to look at a blueprint for how we might just be able to recode our global systems, right from the ground up. Let's get into it.
You can feel it, right? This sense of a polycrisis. It's not just one thing going wrong. It's this whole storm of interconnected challenges hitting us all at once. Our ecosystems are strained, our communities feel fragmented, and there's this feeling that the whole system is teetering on the edge. But, this leads to a really important question.
Is all this chaos just a sign that our global operating system is broken? Or, and this is a bit of a wild thought, is it possible that it's actually running perfectly? That it's producing the exact results it was built to produce? The source material we're digging into today makes a really strong case for that second option.
So to get our heads around this, we need to look at the world's current operating system. The source material uses this really powerful metaphor, the buckyball. Like one of those geodesic domes? It's this super complex, interlocking structure where every single piece reinforces every other piece. Well, our global system is a lot like that. A self-reinforcing machine built for one main purpose: extraction.
It's this dense web where economic incentives, political power, and even our own basic survival instincts are all tangled up and wired together. And this system consistently rewards one thing above everything else: short-term growth and profit. Often that comes at the direct expense of our planet's health and our own well-being. And the key thing to realize is, this isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature.
So what's the engine that's actually driving this extractive buckyball? Well, increasingly it's algorithms. And I'm not just talking about what shows up in your social media feed. We're talking about algorithms that are baked deep into the logic of our economies, our societies, and they are shaping our reality in ways we're only just starting to grasp.
And that brings us to this huge concept, encoded intention. See, algorithms aren't neutral, not at all. They are tools that put a specific worldview into action. Whatever goal we program into them, whether it's maximizing profit or clicks or efficiency, that goal becomes the logic they use to literally reshape our world.
And this shows you exactly how that plays out. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful chain reaction. First, someone chooses a metric to measure, let's say quarterly profit. Then, the whole system optimizes to make that number go up. All the resources, money, people's attention, natural resources, they get allocated to make that happen. And then, boom, a real-world outcome is produced. If the metric is profit, the outcome is usually extraction. So this really lays out the fundamental choice we have. On the left, you've got the paradigm we're in now, designed to reward taking things out. But what if we just flipped the script entirely? What if our systems were designed to reward giving back, restoring ecosystems, building stronger communities, and looking out for our collective future? That is the massive shift from an extractive to a regenerative culture. Okay, so how do we actually build this regenerative future? It's a huge question. Well, the source material we're looking at offers a potential blueprint for a whole new kind of global operating system, one designed from the get-go to be regenerative. It's called the Phoenix architecture.
Now, Phoenix isn't some top-down command and control system. It's imagined as more of a digital scaffold, a kind of planetary nervous system. It's an infrastructure that's designed to help thousands of different groups, from tiny local communities all the way up to global organizations, to work together on shared regenerative goals. At the absolute heart of Phoenix is this thing called the synergy engine. I know this diagram looks a little intense, but let's just break it down. It's basically a system that weaves together a few key pieces: a way to manage trust, a framework for evolving our values and ethics as a group, and AI-powered tools. All of it works together to create what the source material calls conscious collaboration.
And the point of all this? What's the ultimate goal? It's to help us make a fundamental shift in how we evolve as a species. Instead of just reacting to crises and getting driven by collapse, the idea is to enable a more conscious, intentional evolution, one that's guided by a shared sense of responsibility for our planet and our future.
So that's the big vision. But how does a system like this actually encourage regeneration? How does it work? Well, that brings us to the core mechanism, the actual heartbeat of this new architecture, the mission coin.
Okay, first things first, and this is absolutely critical. We have to be crystal clear about what these are not. When you hear the word coin or token, your mind probably jumps straight to speculative cryptocurrencies. This is something completely different. Their purpose is not, and I mean not, financial speculation. So if they're not for speculation, what are they? Well, mission coins, or contribution tokens, are designed to be a reinforcement mechanism. Think of them less like money and more like a signal. It's a way to recognize and reward actions that actually contribute to the health of the whole system. They're basically the nervous system that communicates what we, as a community, truly value.
So how does that actually work in the real world? It runs on what the source material calls the values metrics loop. It's a really elegant four-step process. First, a community gets together and actually articulates what's important to them. Then, those values get translated into clear ethical standards. Third, those standards get turned into metrics you can actually verify. And finally, mission coins are issued to reward real-world contributions that verifiably meet those metrics.
And what kind of contributions are we talking about here? This slide gives some really powerful examples. It's not just planting trees, right? It's also about things that are harder to measure, like actions that build trust between people, or sharing knowledge, or making sure everyone is included. It's about rewarding the very behaviors that create a thriving, healthy culture.
And this really brings us to the bigger picture. A system like this isn't just a new piece of tech. It represents a fundamental rewiring of our collective incentives, a way to move us away from a default of extraction and towards a new default of regeneration.
This quote from the source material it hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Our current systems have programmed us for reflexive extraction. The great challenge for us now is to unlearn that habit and instead learn how to design systems that are symbiotic, that work in harmony with nature and, with each other. And when we do that, we finally align our economic engine with the health of the planet. Suddenly, prosperity isn't just about how much money you have in the bank. It's measured by the vitality of our ecosystems and the strength of our communities. And that's how we redefine what success looks like for generations to come. So in the end, that's what all of this is about. The Phoenix architecture, the mission coins, they're just tools. They are tools to help us embed our deepest values, care, stewardship, cooperation, directly into the operating system of our civilization. It's a shift from a system that's running on autopilot to a future that we are consciously and collectively choosing to create. And that really leaves us with one final powerful question to think about. What would our world actually look like if our economy didn't just tolerate our values, but actively rewarded them? What if we could truly code a better future into existence? That's definitely something worth considering. Thanks for tuning in.